The movie revolves around a guy named Woo-jin, who suffers from a rare condition. On his 18th birthday, he first learned about his condition, which makes him with a different face and body every morning. He was shocked and puzzled by his condition. At first he told his mother Moon-suk about his disease. She had a hard time adjusting to it but eventually accepted him for who he is. Woo-jin also came clean to his childhood best friend Sang-baek, who also accepted him. With Moon-suk and Baek's support, Woo-jin starts to embrace his truth and learn to live with his strange condition. Every morning, Woo-jin wakes up in a different body of varying age, gender and nationality. Some days he's a man, a woman, old, young or even a foreigner. Because of his condition, he can speak a different language depending on who he wakes up that day. Although he is always someone new on the outside, he's the same person on the inside. Who works at a furniture store. He falls for her beauty, mind and kind nature. He starts visiting the store every day to see her. Unbeknownst to her, he talks to her in a different avatar each time. But despite his changing appearance, Yi-soo would always treat him the same. Woo-jin waits until he wakes up as a handsome guy to finally ask the girl out on the day. He takes her to the ALX factory on the first date as she had expressed deep admiration for ALX products. In Woo-jin many encounters with her. They eat sushi and have a great time together. He asks her on another date the next day. He wants to meet her as the same handsome guy, so he stays up all night so as to not wake up as someone else the next morning. Someone else. Afraid of freaking out. Afraid of freaking her out, he cancels his date with her and decides to never see her again. However, he gives in to his urges and continues to text her. He sends her a costume-made furniture. Design just the way she likes it. The furniture helps Yi-soo impress her boss. Woo-jin also applies as a girl to work part-time at Yi-soo's workplace just so he close to her. He befriends her and asks to have dinner with her after work. He takes her to the ALX factory and gathers the courage to come clean about his identity and conditions to her. He shows her the videos he recorded on his laptop to her, where he talks about her. He tells her about the conversations they had over before sleeping. Woo-jin tells her more about his condition and how he copes with it. He reveals that he is 29 years old. He had made peace with his condition, but ever since he met her, it has gotten even more difficult to live with the condition. He tried to stay away from her but he just couldn't resist. Yi-soo wakes up the next day to find the same girl she had dinner with the other day sleeping next to her. She lets Woo-jin sleep and goes through his clothes, shoes and videos on his laptop. When Woo-jin wakes up, he wakes up as a boy. Yi-soo finally believes his claim and starts to accept him for who he is on the inside. They again start to meet everyone and Woo-jin is elated to meet the same girl he likes for more than a week. They go to different places and talk about silly things. She gets used to Woo-jin one day waking up as a middle-aged man and some other day as a child. With Woo-jin struggling at work, Yi-soo pitches a new idea to him. She advises him to start the second-day DX line with standardized sizes at moderate prices. This would give more people access to the ALX world and open new doors for the company. Woo-jin loves the idea, which surprises Sang-baek because Woo-jin always shoots down any new ideas he pitches. One day, Yi-soo's furniture studio throws party and Woo-jin gets an invitation. Yi-soo's boss excited to meet Yi-soo's ALX boyfriend. She is also interested in meeting him because everyone describes a different person when talking about Yi-soo's boyfriend. Unfortunately, on the day of the party, Woo-jin wakes up as an old woman. He goes back to sleep and unfortunately wakes up as a decent-looking man. Woo-jin finally arrives at the party and holds Yi-soo's hand to let her know that it is him. Yi-soo finally gets her coworkers off her back about wanting to meet her boyfriend. And the pair have a great time at the party. The next day, Woo-jin takes Yi-soo to meet his mother Moon-suk at her shop. Moon-suk is happy that her son finally found someone he could spend the rest of his life with. She gives them her best wishes and hopes that they won't end up hurting each other. It is not always sunshine and rainbows for the couple. One time, Woo-jin upsets Yi-soo when he randomly holds her hand in a crowd with a new and unknown face, freaking her out. Seeing her hurt, he apologizes to her and promises to never do it again. Seeing the two head over heels for each other, Sang-baek asks his friend why he hasn't proposed marriage to Yi-soo yet. Woo-jin too had been thinking about proposing to her but had always been on the fence about it. With Sang-baek's encouragement, he decides to propose his Yi-soo. He works really hard to custom design a ring for her. Meanwhile, people begin to gossip about Yi-soo after seeing her out with a different man every day. This starts to take a toll on her mental health and she increasingly becomes forgetful. She begins to take pills to cope with her stress, anxiety and insomnia. Amidst all this, Woo-jin broaches the topic of marriage to Yi-soo and as expected, she isn't so keen on marriage right now. She tells him that there are many things to consider before getting married. She says that every time he looks in the mirror each morning, he needs time to accept himself, to test his vision, and to measure his feet. Similarly, She needs time to think about marrying all those different people. She also can imagine how she's going to introduce him to her parents. Yisu's response really upsets Woo-jin. He had thought that they were on the same page, but it seems they are reading two different books. The conversation overwhelms Yisu and she takes a high dosage. As long as Woo-jin and her aren't together. Puzzled, Woo-jin asks her what she is talking about. She then reveals that Woo-jin inherited Thai condition from his father. Moon-suk loved Woo-jin's father dearly at first, but people began gossiping. They accused her of being promiscuous. She tried to ignore it, but one day, Woo-jin's father disappeared. He left her a letter, apologizing to her for making her life hell. Woo-jin is moved to tears by the revelation and he starts wondering. After Yisu is discharged from the hospital, Woo-jin meets her for the last time and breaks up with her. He tells her that it is the right choice and asks her to stop taking those pills before disappearing from her life. The breakup devastates Yisu and she thinks about Woo-jin every day. 10 months pass by. Yisu can now sleep without pills, but she still dearly misses Woo. To be challenging, but being without him is much worse. The two breaks into tears. After collecting themselves, they then go out for a walk in the Czech Republic picturesque capital. Yisu tells him that she doesn't care if he changes every day. And she loves the Kin Woo-jin inside him. The movie ends with Woo-jin taking out the ring he had made earlier in the film on her finger.